All right, we're looking at the first part of the supply and demand unit. You need to look at these letters that are on here, D, S, P, Q, and E. Demand, supply, price, quantity, and equilibrium. You need to recognize these at all times. Learn them. Going to start with the AC/DC Econ and Crash Course combo video. You need to watch this, pause this, go to the PowerPoint, watch this. View the video as many times as you need. It's very good. All the videos, AC/DC ones and everything, they're in this PowerPoint are really good, and they do an excellent job of explaining everything, probably better than I do. So you need to pause this stuff, watch those things as many times as possible, and make sure you understand this material. I'm going to go ahead and continue on from this point. Understanding demand and supply. Demand is a desire to own something and the willingness and ability to pay for it, and supply tries to fill demand and helps create the quantity of goods available. Supply defined as the amount of goods available at all possible price points. Economists use the word supply to refer to the relationship between price and quantity supplied. So you got a definition for demand and supply. You need to make sure you can recognize those on a test. There is a law of demand that you need to know. Consumers will buy more goods when prices decrease and less when they increase. This is a law. Our laws probably aren't as rock solid as the ones in physics or something, but ours are, the inference laws, if you will. The law of demand, you need to remember this, it's in red on here. It's a negative or inverse relationship that assumes ceteris paribus or paribus or whatever, that all other things are held constant. Prices are a key part of doing supply and demand along with quantity. The law of demand, as illustrated, it's an inverse relationship, which means you're looking at these arrows right here. When one of these goes up, the other one goes down. Down, up, down. And it's a human nature kind of thing you need to understand. When a price goes up, that's going to lead to a decrease in demand. If something is more expensive, you're not going to want it as much. When prices go down, like when something goes on sale, demand will go up. So when prices are high, consumers demand less. When prices are low, they demand more. So you need to know this. It's an inverse relationship. This is your basic demand curve. Over here you will see P for price, Q for quantity. This goes from 0 to higher prices, 0 to higher quantities. And we have the demand curve on here illustrated by the D. You should understand what's going on with this stuff after watching that introductory video and everything. And if you don't, stick with this stuff, keep learning. A demand increase, anytime there's an increase in demand, that is going to mean you're going to have your price, your quantity, your basic curve, and then you're going to have a rightward shift. So you're going to change this curve. It's not just going to be a demand curve now. It's going to be demand curve 1, and you're going to have the second demand curve 2, which is showing an increase in demand. Increases are always rightward shifts. Decreases are always leftward. And so keep in mind, you are going from 0 to higher prices, 0 to higher quantities. You had this curve here, and it's moved over here. A demand decrease, price quantity, first demand curve, new demand curve. Key to doing this, you've got to always have these arrows on here. You always have to have your notation, your first curve. Now, I was really bad in school. I kind of learned it to put D and then make this one D1. Some people might put DA and DB. It doesn't really matter. You have to have clear notation and clear arrows showing left, right shifts. If you've got them going up and down and pointing it the wrong way and stuff, it's not really going to do you any good. You got to make sure you do these things correctly and clearly. If you don't draw very well, you're going to need to take your time, maybe get a ruler and stuff. The law of supply. If a firm is already making a profit by selling a good, they will assume an increase in price will increase the firm's profits. It's kind of a weird law, but you got to think of it. Consumers, when prices go down, they want to buy more. When prices go up, they want to buy less. If prices are high, firms are willing to make something. If prices are low, they're not going to be as willing because they're going to assume there's not as much profit and demand involved. So it's the possible promise of higher revenues for each sale that encourages a firm to produce more. It is a positive relationship, unlike the negative or inverse relationship we saw with demand. And when this is going on, if a company is selling something and making a profit, other firms are going to react and you'll have market entry. Other firms will join in and produce more. So you got to think macro. If a company, a long time ago, there was this trading card game, Magic the Gathering. And a company was being successful with this, and other companies saw they were being successful with them, so they joined in and made similar card games. And if you're thinking macro, generalizing these all as collectible card games, if one company is going out there and they're making more because there's demand and other companies copy it and they make more, you're going to have an overall increase in supply across the board of these things generically referred to as collectible card games. And when prices fall, firms are going to be discouraged. When prices are going down, not as many of them are going to want to be involved. They're not going to see as much profit incentive. You got to learn this stuff. Law of supply, as I said, is a positive relationship as opposed to the law of supply is the positive relationship as opposed to the inverse relationship we saw with demand. The arrows are always going to go the same direction. Increase in price will lead to an increase in supply. A decrease in price will lead to a decrease. So the demand ones are opposite. These go the same way, and it's going to be very yin-yang when we get into this and stuff, because firms want to sell stuff at the highest prices possible. People want to get stuff at the lowest prices possible, but you've got to have this meeting point, this equilibrium point in the middle, where a firm can make a profit selling something. You can get it. There's no shortages or surpluses. And sure, you'd like it cheaper, but you get it at a price point where you get satisfaction and utility from it. So this is where we're heading with this. There's your basic supply curve, very similar to what we saw with demand, except it has the opposite slope and an increase in supply. This is the thing that confuses people. We have our first curve. Remember, all increases go to the right. It doesn't matter if it's a demand curve or a supply curve. Increases always go to the right, and decreases go to the left. Make sure you've got arrows and notations. This could be S1, SA to SB. This could have been S to S1. Lots of people do things differently. And when you have these two curves crossing, you have equilibrium. You have a happy place where everyone can get what they want and need. Producers can provide it and make a profit, and these people are getting satisfaction. There's no shortages. There's no surpluses. So that's your happy spot. Prices have three functions, and this is stuff we'll also get into in other units. They help determine value. They communicate between buyers and sellers. If a product is something people kind of want, but it's too expensive, they're not going to buy it, and that's telling the firm a lot. And it's also a rationing device, which we're going to get into black markets and a lot of that kind of stuff in this unit. A demand schedule is how this demand curve is made. It's a table that shows the relationship between the price of a product and the quantity demanded. And I've got to go through this quickly because I'm going to be kind of up against the timing of this, and you can't really read it. It's getting cut off. It says example up there, but you see at a price of $1, nobody wants whatever this is. This could be thumbtacks, this could be frisbees, it could be fidget spinners. Who cares? At a price of $1, nobody wants this. You lower the price to 80 cents, you can move 40 units. Is that literally 40 or 40,000? We're not going to worry about that. Lower the price to 60, it increases to 80 units. 40 to 120. So you're seeing the lower the price, the more demand. And then you can plot those points, and when you plot those points, it's actually what creates a demand curve. And you can see it's not a little perfect straight line. We just draw those to get it done quickly. But you're seeing 0 to higher prices, 0 to higher quantities. You're seeing at 60 cents, you're coming across and you're hitting, and it's 80. Oh, look, it matches 80 units. So that's what's going on. And you could put a point on here as a starting point, P1, and Q1 is your first point. You can start with that. We'll just use the 4120. There's a first point. And then you can then do what it says in the next thing here. Put P2 and Q2 on there using the price of 80 and the quantity of 40. And so you're seeing if you raise the price from 40 cents from point 1 to point 2, price 1 to price 2, if you raise it up to 80 cents, you're coming across here, and that means you're hitting this curve here. You're coming down here, it's 40. You're seeing the higher the price, the lower the demand. You raise the price from 40 to 80. You went from a demand of 120 down to 40. And we can go the other way with this using P3 and Q3. And we'll just go do it from P1. It could be from P2. It doesn't matter. But if we lower the price from 40 to 20, our new price is 20. We go all the way across. We're hitting at 160. And we're seeing that when you lowered the price, the demand went up. People want more if prices are cheaper. And you can do the exact same stuff for a supply curve, and you can see that the higher the price, the more the firms are willing to supply, or the companies are willing to supply. The lower the price, the less. You plot those points, the supply schedule will make your supply curve. So there's always real numbers behind this, I'm going to stop this video right here because it's at 10 minutes, and I'll pick you up in the second video.